second paragraph of Eis Zayin. So Zayin explained that Yaakov Halach Ladarka is relative. It starts already Mitzvah Yom Kippur. He spoke about the Yashkim Lov and Baboker V'Yinashek as B'Noisov, which is every day, but from Kloli, that's the Ramshachim, Gilmidas Harachim, the life from the alien. Not the same. The line is higher. Gilmidas Harachim is Nimshach from the life from the alien. Because Gilmidas Harachim themselves is already a midah, even though it's not complete, relatively speaking. But the life from the alien is the Pshitus of Ein Sof. At any rate, every day there's that Hamshachim. That's the way from Kloli, it's Elul, Rosh Hashanah, and Yom Kippur. He wanted to say, therefore, after Yom Kippur, that's where the pasuk is stated. V'Yaakov Halach Ladarka is stated in this pasuk that Lavan went on his way, returned to his house after V'Yinashik is B'Noisov, V'Yashkim Lavan Baboker, and then V'Yaakov Halach Ladarka. So that Klolus goes on Mitzvah Yom Kippur, the day after Yom Kippur, in addition to every day. And then the Iker is after Simchas Torah and even after Shabbos Bereshit. Doesn't mention that here, but that's mentioned elsewhere. As we go into Chodesh Cheshvan and Yidna traveling back to the various places, to the last year, arrives at Nahar Pros. So if Bisman HaBayis, the Inyan of Tishrei was Nimshech till then, when it was Gashmius, and also today, when we're doing all the Inyanim of an Neshama, Farim Svaseinu, we could even add that then it was one person. Hashigir Achim should be Israel in the heart for us. The Gashmius. Here, since the whole thing is Baruch, so it's everybody. So he said it's easier. It's easier to pray all these Inyanim that it should be Nimshach, Tishrei should be Nimshach, Kol Hashana Kol. So now the So when we now leave the matzav of the, as explained, the achtos of Yidden that prays the union of Vahi Bishul and Melech Davish to becoming Melech. So this was all affected by Kesa in a concealed way, and then it's revealed on Sukkot, which is spans the period of Rosh Hashanah and Simchas Torah. When Ichnosim, let's say that Rabbi the Bialach Ladarka. We enter now into the Avodah of Yaakov Ladarka. As I then, now each one literally, it's a pasuk as Chazal, ascends through his unique path. Each one in his particular avodah is different according to Shoresh Neshama, V'chulu, etc. Many all the other factors that make up our unique station and position in life. And only this way, it's only this way. Now the avodah proteus, the individual avodah, that the supernal shlichus is fulfilled. Therefore, now the distinctions in avodah are critical. From the highest to the lowest. But with respect to this, to what? To the fact that on the one hand, now it's critical to have the separate and individual unique avodas. So about this, Shmini Atzeres, it says, because that's when they take leave of the king. So the Eibishter says, and this is the Medrash explaining what Shmini Atzeres is and why there's one korban. It's the whole moshel of the, as we explained earlier, of the daughters coming to the king. And the end he says, it's several midrashim. It's several midrashim bringing out different aspects of Shmini Atzeres. So the king says to them, Koshot, to his friend, This is actually talking to the friend. It's difficult for me, your parting. Therefore, stay one more day, and then we will bathe in the Galga Nivayata, and we will spend the time with the remainder, as we explained what that means earlier in the Maamar. Here's another diuk. He doesn't say, as you'd expect the language to be, page 10, that it's difficult for us, our separation. That's the point here. That I can't bear being separated. It doesn't say that. Why not? But forbid to say that there is division between Eden and the Eibush and Eden. So what is the problem? What's difficult for me is your division amongst you. And that's what's happening now, which is why it's critical to make this point, because now we're leaving Tishrei where the whole Avodah is patently Achdus, and now it's not. So what are you leaving from? You're leaving from the Matzav of Bisasef Rashiyom, Yachad Shifti Yisrael. That's no longer. And now each one is embarking in Mesilas Yameh. Here's a unique path. So that's the difficulty. So therefore, the solution is so Shmini Atzeres demands of a Jew. In the fact that it should be so, notwithstanding the individual responsibilities and avodah all the way down to the pratim, that a Jew should not be separate from another. Even though that's not easy. It's in fact difficult that the Yid should have two avodas simultaneously and harmoniously, namely in the brackets. On the one hand, that there is extreme division between one Yid's avodah and the other. Analogies to the chiluk between the avodah of the heads of the tribes, the avodah to the avodah of the woodshop and the water carrier, and at the same time, and yet they should all be united. So it's not difficult. So so God acknowledges this and says at the outset, this is difficult for me. Nonetheless, he's not saying it's difficult for me to bear the division. The difficult part is the opposite. The difficult part is that in the division there should be achdus. It's also difficult. You find a few places the notion of it being difficult for God. Kriyas Yamsov, Zivugim. What's common to all of them is a chibur of opposites that Ishtalshalos does not tolerate or cannot bear. And yet, he's V'afa became Teveya, they should demand there should be this actus. The noise in Kayach and gives the Kayach. Or Payal Zois and effects it. Sharid Dvar Elikenu, Yokum Lo'elam. The word of our God will stand forever. So the Eibishter says such an Inyan that Kosha, like Pridaskim, says Peil, the truth of Hashem is forever. Also means that Nimshach in the world, not just in theory or some transcendent level, but Lepel Mamash. And that is Shafil Kishnim saying from the Pridaschem, even as we have to be now Take in each individual Aveda. It's that Shlichus Avaya, Shlichus HaTorah. It's the Eibishter Shlichus and the Shlichus of Torah. It's interesting, diuk, for difference. One's Koli, one's Bepratis. Anyway, Shekol Echad Yifel v'Yaved Avidosa Lefi Inyanai. So even in a matzah where each one has to be pale and do his aveda, his individual aveda, So this would cause separation. This would cause distinction. Each one busy with and can't relate to and ought not on some level the avodah of the other person. There's a famous diak of the Rabbi in Pirkei Avos that the Mishnah says, stay away. Harchek mishochin ra. Stay away from a bad neighbor. Why doesn't it say harchek mishochin rasha? He's a bad guy, he's a rasha. The description of the person. The Rabbi says he's not a bad guy. He's a very good guy. But his avodah is not for you. The avodah is not for you. What he is doing, he needs to do. He has the kreiches for it. And it's his sheirish neshama, and it's his shlichus. It's not your shlichus. So don't emulate what the fellow next door to you is doing just because he's a good guy and he's a chassid. Lav dafka means for you. So how do you know what's for you? You need guidance. I mean, there's the general things that apply to everyone. Then the plot is the kavod. So that's the deal. It's not a rasha chas v'shalom. It's a shochin ra because it's not your avodah. It will derail you and distract you what you have to do, and you won't be successful in what he's doing either because it's not just this. So this is the inyan of each one, the Inyan, again, that's separation. Nonetheless, in biyachad im zeh, yesh lo ha'hira v'atzivui v'nisneskoyach. Powerful words here. There's the instruction, there's the commandment, and there's the empowerment. Shekivin shezel inyan shekosha alai ala kodesh baruch hu. The Eibush is admitting, as it were, but this is not easy and difficult for me. Harei zeh Payload. I don't think you find such a lotion anywhere, such a beer anywhere. The Yid knows that this is difficult for the Eibush, and he's doing it anyway. So this pales on him, Alish Yisrael, that is, whatever difficulties he has in his achtos with his fellow chassid, he'll overcome it. This achid in kol shar hadaragish kol echad achas b'Yisrael, to unite. And more than affinity, but to unite with all the other levels of every year. So this is the devotee. It's pearl. When he hears that it's difficult for the Eibush, and he's doing it, and he's giving such a koyach, so dare not ignore it. When he's busy with his own little life, this is difficult for God, and nevertheless is giving the koyachas that should be achtos amongst Eden. So this preludes on him, that it should be so. Ubedugma said, and similar to Mashakosa, based in page 11 now. Ubedugma so much so should it be the Achtus, which should be similar to the base in Sinas Luchos Arishonis, like it was when the first Luchos were given. But the pasuk says, "Vayichem Sham Yisrael Negador," and he, Israel, camped there, facing the mountain. That is what in of Achtos Kish Echad B'Leiv Echad, in the singular. Yafapi, that even though looking at that situation, Moishe was in one division, the elders in between. There was a whole hierarchy of how high on the mountain to ascend. And nonetheless, about now that was the Luchas Rishonis. So the Shail is with David Tzadikim then later came the Chet HaEgel, but not at that level. She says, and similarly, we had it on the contrary. Because of the mind of Tshuva that followed. But yes, I say, yes, that's even more so. But this is Luchas Achareinos, the second Luchas, which is where Al Matzav post Yom Kippur, coming after Tishrei. I mean, Yom Kippur isn't the Luchas Achareinos, which is B'yom Chasan Lusai. The pasuk says in Shir Hashirim, look at the Melech Shloimeh that goes on the Eibush to B'yom Chasan Lusai, pasuk there, which you're all familiar with. Says the Medrash, what does it mean Chasan Lusai? Who's Melech Shloimeh? Melech Shloimeh is Melech Hashem Shalek the Eibush. So the look, the Neshama Yisrael are called upon. Look, they're gazing on the day of his wedding, which is Matan Torah, which is Yom Kippurim, when the second luchos were given, so how much more so the Inyan of Achdus now in the luchos achronos b'yom chasanusay is for sure easier to achieve more so than the luchos rishonos. Not sure of the diyukim here b'yom chasanusay. Inyan of chasan is yichud. That's between Chasan Kala, Eivish, and Yidden. But that extension, therefore, because the diuk here is with one Jew and another. But based on Klal, we understand that luchos achadonis are deeper than luchos rishonos. Much of the Risha Balpeh and the nuance was dafka given in luchos achadonis, the Mar of Tshuva, the Mar of Yom Kippur, and so on. So for sure, the Achdus now is a deeper Achdus than luchos rishonos. Why? Because luchos rishonos, the Achdus was everybody was nice to each other, so why not? Because they're harmonious. But luchos achadonis is you got into a fight with the Eibishter, with each other. They weren't united by the Chet HaEgel. There was a turmoil. There was turmoil and complete what escapes me, but you get the idea. So it was all divisive and tumultuous.
Chaos?
Chaos. Between each other, the whole husband and wife tore the jewelry from them. Maybe that's why he's bringing here the Inyan of Chassan. The second luchos is the Chassan, a conciliation of that. So he's saying that the Achdus that comes after Pira, there's a deeper Achdus. And Achdus, everybody is, just getting to know each other. They're just born as a people, came out of Mitzrayim. This rapid, journey through the desert, miracles, everybody is united. It's a superficial unity. But when you get to know each other, and not only that, you see the chesronos in the other person, people are exposed, which is a Lashon HaPosek, then the people are exposed by Chet HaEgel, and then comes luchos achronos, then comes Chassan, then comes Achdus. It's an honest Achdus, you know each other, and you're still friends, because you choose not to look at the chesronos, you look at the midas, and you connect on a very deep level, respecting each one's different avodah, different nature. Instead of making me nervous, on the contrary, you respect that. It's a different avodah. It's not my avodah. It's his Inyan. So that's a much deeper. That's an achas kama v'kama, but the luchos achronos that there's achtos. Then he continues with kafish and that continues. We sit together in Fabeng in the sukkah for 7 days. And then comes Simchas Tadachtos is even greater, the Dikudim and so on. That's manifest in the fact that it's one singular korban, one part, one ox, one ram, as opposed to the 70 oxen and so on brought throughout sukkahs. But analogous to the common of Yom Kippur, he's holding in the same level of Yom Kippur, but now he's brought it down into the reality of and the vision and the of life. So he's holding that same level. It's achas b'shana. Yom Kippur is achas b'shana. That's how it's described in the pasuk. And Shminat Tzeres is par echad ayel echad, the singular korban. So now a unity that's threading all of this division, legitimate division, different avodas, supposed to be. It's not only amongst Eden, but we draw this unity in the avodah of elevating and refining. Literally bitter, translation of bitter, refining, bitter. Bitter means to select. Another word to use. Maybe another word. Zichroch is refined. Halo means to elevate. Give another word for, but bitter means literally bitter. Extracting the good. So we're elevating Kol Shiva Shima Umma is the avodas to extend to the way the Yid engages with the world around him. He brings that achdus there in the workplace. The 70 nations represent all the nations of the world. In Kol Inyan, that is relentless. It's in every aspect of their lives. Shekam Heim Nasim. This achdus, he pales unity. Imagine that, that's the litmus test. If we're pale achdus in our environment, people are so inspired by us that it softens their egos and there's achdus. Such a way, he brings a unity. So likewise, Pridaschem amongst Yidden goes back to Yidden. The kosher like Pridaschem, that a Yid feels like the Eibishter does, it's a difficult thing to be divided. It's it's a bad thing. Kosher like. A Yid should feel very uncomfortable when there's division. So it's intolerable. Can't be broigis, not talk to this one, that one. It's intolerable. It has to be achdus. Kosher life. It's difficult for the Eibishter to bear, and he gives us the power to achieve it. So it's going to be difficult for the Yid. Difficult as in intolerable. That's what it means now. So much so that they become united truly b'peil and b'gashmius. Ad the gashmius, the gashmius. Spoke before about Yisrael should be Yisrael in Kippur. Now he's saying gashmius, the gashmius. The nitty gritty, what's the interaction? And this achdus is, as it also leaving Tishrei to the avodah of Yaakov halach l'darkei, the meshech kol hashana kol throughout the whole year. Zehu oisches. Here you can see, for instance, patently how a maamar is a hamshacha. This could be distilled. The points could have been 10.5 or a third. That is repeating again this way. That was mamshich the Inyan and mamshich and mamshich and mamshich. Because it's not a difficult. It's a difficult bridge. Tishrei, year, achdus, months. Yidden, Chassidim. These are tall orders. He's pale the Inyan and laboring mightily to effect it, to grant it to us. So I've told you, you can see the video, you watched it. This is not in the video, but you can hear the man. You can hear the toil. When you see a man, you see the toil. Tremendous, tremendous exertion. Gashmis. His face in the mind is a complete transformation. Complete transformation. So this is the Inyan of Tishrei. The Medrash says on Tishri. One of the 6 or so meanings that the Maim explained, right? About the name Tishrei and Tishri. The Medrash says it's satisfied, it's full with everything. It's a fascinating verse. It gives has to say the mock in the Maim. That the thing that is full with, satiated with, are enumerated in the Shabbat's Parshas Ember, which talks about that's the parsha of all the Yom Tovim. Yitais Besocher, all the things that Maimon mentioned. The vats are full and so on. Gashmis, Ruchvis, Makifim, Pnimim, all the things he reckoned out and explained earlier in the Maimon. So hey, in Yonim Gashmim, Yitais Besocher, the vats, hey, in Yonim Ruchnim, and likewise, it's full of the shleimus of spiritual in Yonim, Kippur Besocher, Yom Kippur, Tachtas HaShleimus Bavida, Baruch which is the ultimate Aveda. Duchnis the Aveda, Tshuva, this highest level. And then comes about the Baal Shem Tov that not only is it Mesuba, it is full, but it must be Abarev Tuval Kol Hashana. It then grants this and it satiates with much abundant good for the whole year. The Hamshech called in Yonim Eber Mesh Kol Hashana, it all should be drawn throughout the year. Likewise, the Inyan of Shalom. So we have the Inyan of Shalom. The Shalom was coming from Simchas Torah. Why? Because why was Torah given? Shalom Torah was given to make peace. He wants to say it's a psak din in Torah. He says that that's why if you only have oil for a menorah, to light the menorah off a Shabbos candle. So in Hilchas Chanukah he says you light Shabbos candle. They need not lasses shalom ba'ed. Well, beautiful be of the Rebbe. There should be Hilchas Shabbos. Why is it Hilchas Chanukah? And how does Hilchas Chanukah end with the mile of Shabbos? But upon him, the Nekuda is that the whole Inyan of Torah is to make peace, peace between us, neighbors, nations, and heaven and earth. So we have the assurance of Torah that great is Shalom for Shehu Kli Masik Bracha. This is the end of the Sech Uktzin, the end of Shas. The very end of Shas talks about the mile of Shalom. It's the Keli to receive the Eibishter's Bracha. Not some brachas, but all of his brachas. As all of the Inyanim that are enumerated in Medrash Rabbah to Megillas Esther at its siyum and conclusion. It's also significant in Megillas Esther because that's the last chelik of Nevi'im. So that's Golos. So the end of that speaks by stories. It appears about the mile of Shalom. Chein Tiyelon. So God willing, look it up. So it should be Fasha Yumshach Shalom Kipshutoi B'mei HaGolos Achreidim, that there should be Pasha peace in these last days of Golos. The Shalom Amiti. True peace. That should lead to the true peace. This is 1976. He means Pasha Matzav Yisrael and everywhere. The BS Ish, with the coming of the person Sheshloim Shmoid, his name is Shloim. It's one of the names of Mashiach. Shalom Yebiyomov. This is a reference to Shloim. Literally, it was called Shloim because peace would be in his day. The Mashiach is a descendant of him, and embodies that Shazel Mashiach Tzidkenu. Because Kivisha Pesik Rambam Shi and Zera David Shloim, right? He'll be of the descendant of David, but through Shloim HaMelech. So therefore, the Inyan of Shalom v'Yilchem Milchemes Hashem is the Rambam here. V'Yinatzeach, and he'll fight Eibishter's wars, and he'll be successful. Even the Beis Hamikdash b'Mkoima, and he'll build the Beis Hamikdash in its place. V'Yikabes Nidchei Yisrael, and gather in the dispersed of Eden. Oz Yikuyim Hayirud, and then the promise will be fulfilled. The Eibishter says, "Epech," the Rambam quotes this. Epech el amim, I will turn upon the nation. Sofa v'rura, clear tongue, clear language. Likrei kula b'shem Hashem, that all of them will call upon the name of Hashem. U'la'ovdei, they will serve him. Shchem echad, one shoulder to shoulder, one consent. In other words, ba'achtos, the kodev mamish, b'gulo ha'mitis v'ashlema v'agola didam.